Okay, we're starting again. Hi, let's keep going for week 7, second part of information. Here comes the accumulation of damp heat in the middle gel pattern for the winged worms. Here, this pattern is corresponding with formula of DAMP-WATER-YIN. Any of you would like to guessing what kind of herbs involved in this formula? Lian is what herbs? Is commonly related. Bitter yellow one, nian, qiao, or huang nian. No matter, so we're guessing because we don't know. Pu is what? Pu is possible. Whole pu, yes, good. So something related with bitter herbs and or aromatic herbs. And same for the 子时导致散. So we know 子时 is inside. So this is mainly for damping the middle burner. You can see no matter which part, all the middle gel has been involved in damp worms. So chest, epigastric distension, nausea, vomiting, content fever, thirst, and irritability, scanty urination, yellow and greasy tongue coating, soggy rapid pulse. You can see a lot of us will experience that during the time of, a lot of workload, a lot of project deadlines. We can feel that more or less. What we can do, make splints better. So we go outside jumping, running, have some sunbathing, similar idea like this one. Transform the damp, eat much more easy digest food, make the digestion much better to cleansing, and better nutrients from proper combination of dishes, and also clear the heat, direct and rebellion stomach qi downwards to help to restore the qi dynamics, especially middle gel, and dry the dampness with moderated purge damp heat with food retention in middle gel. So if the food accumulates in middle burner, we can use some very gentle one to release it to help at the same time benefit for dampness resolving. That's why here 子时导致丸 involves. This belongs to purgative sections in the formula study. So 莲蒲饮黄年厚朴, beautiful bitter cold aromatic warm herbs combination with additional 石菖蒲 supporting 厚朴 to resolve the damp cold. 芦根 supply the yin. 半夏 was supporting 厚朴 to resolve the damp and descending rebellion stomach's qi. 淡豆豉 diuretic. 栀子 is a bitter cold one supporting 黄年 and clear the heat. Now, 子时导致丸, they're containing 大黄. Usually we do not recommend a 大黄, but this is talking about batches of pills. So do not get a shock from this dosage. They're making pills. So there's ratios in that kind of formula is a pills. 子时大黄 to descending to remove the excessive heat, regulate the qi. 神曲 resolving food stagnation, and Fuling with supporting splints qi with additional huang nian, huang qing. This help clear the heat and damp. And bai zhu supporting the splints together with fuling. This is also diuretic. So second formula much more stronger to release excessive damp heat obstruction in the colon. And first one is much more relatively gentler for more rebellion stomach qi goes up. So both of these formula can deal with damp heat accumulation middle gel. And first formula, Nian Pu Yin, focus on separating, resolving damp and heat. And second one with more serious damp heat resolved or accumulation in the large intestines. So different location damp heat, treatment will be differently. Next pattern is eruptions of a small vesicle, so looks like a little bit bubble-like the rashes present on your skin due to insufficient qi, not able to perform proper sweating. And usually these conditions do not need attention from the herbs if the early acute stage. But if it's ongoing, chronic ongoing, and never can going away, and may can help from using the treatment. Usually people suffering these conditions either have too big body weight, lots of damp constitutions, and does not like physical activity, not very easy, have a regular perspiration through the physical exercise. So small vesicles presenting on the skin, heavy aching body with containing fever, cloudy thinking, nausea, vomiting could come out as well possible diarrhea presented. Yellow, greasy tongue coating, and rapid soft pulse. Usually when they're sitting in front of you, and if they have not had a bath before they come to the consultation, their body will radiate very, very unpleasant smells. And after they finish the session in the cubicle, whole cubicle left behind with very, very unpleasant identity from that human beings. So clear the heat, leach out of the damp, and disperse the damp heat. 一亿竹叶伞 so 一亿人竹叶 is used as a major ingredient to help resolve the damp through diuretic method with additional 滑石通草茯苓 diuretic and the 粘荞 clear the heat. 白豆蔻 aromatic resolve the damp, regulate the qi. So there's a question. So-called these being other skin conditions, things like chickenpox. No, not that serious one. It's not chickenpox. It's like a little bit of vesicle, small bubble-like conditions due to bodies do not have ability to make body sweating. Usually happen in the late summer, so some very hot season related, and early autumn, so specific season related as well. Clear fluid, yes, very clear fluid. It's a kind of body fluid result. Very. We remember we displayed this kind of image a few weeks ago about skin rashes. One is macular, one is these vesicles, and one is something very hard to touch when you push it on the skins. This one's also above the skins, but it's very gentle, no pain to touch it, no color changes, but a little bit bubble. If you puncture through with needles, a little bit of bubble comes through. But once you have very good perspiration, either go to sauna, steaming, or sweating, and this bubble will disappear by itself. Next pattern is obstruction of channels by damp heat, mainly causing swollen, aching pain, like a kind of arthritis related in very damp, humid seasons. Or people in very hot seasons, they have lots of damp accumulations due to poor permeabilities of blood vessels, a lots of swollen legs in later afternoon could happen with additional floating pulses or sleepy rapid pulses, yellow greasy tongue coating. So 宣避汤汉方剂滑石栀子治半夏赤小豆杏仁粘荞薏仁残沙 is pools of the silkworm. And these are very good combinations to help resolve the damp heat related to swollen joints with hot sensations and hot to touch to clear the damp heat. Even some arthritis pain represented as a damp heat also can apply using this formula. The taste of this formula is very, very unpleasant because the fungi taste is not very nice, as well as the 残沙 and the 粘荞 all taste quite bitter. Again, next is steaming damp heat position in the triple burner. 杏仁滑石汤 you can see a lot of previous ingredients talking about 三仁汤 杏仁 again, and used for these conditions, deal with the damp in upper jiao, phlegm in upper jiao, 橘红 regulate the qi, and 郁金 deal with any kind of compressed energies, also regulate blood circulation. Hope resolve damp in the middle burner, also regulate the qi. 黄连 deals with the heat, combined together with 滑石 huang qing to resolve the damp heat in the middle burner and the lower jiao, and tong cao also help the hua shi deal with the damp through the urinations. 半夏 help resolve the damp cause of rebellion, qi goes up. So 半夏橘红 here mimic 二层汤's idea, and also have a 黄连 huang qing and with yellow, two yellow brother with dry natures all together. So whole formula tastes very nasty. So you have congestion in the upper jiao, they feel distension in the chest, also middle jiao feel bloat in the stomachs, and may feel funny with urination. So either turbid or difficult urination. So all the triple burner have a damp heat involved. So very soggy, rapid pulses, and very greasy and gray turbid tongue coatings. Next is pericardium has been affected. Consciousness will be involved, spirit will be involved. When they're blocked by the flame, heat, you can have a fevers, muddled consciousness, delirious speech, yellow greasy tongue coating, usually ended up in an emergency, either had a stroke or have, you need to get attention from the first aid. But if it happened at home, you either using the points pressures for the 人中 here to waken them up, or using force to waken them up. And if the temperature is not very high, don't do bloodletting. And that's the basic idea. But if the tongue is so purple red, even the temperature is not very high, you still could do bloodletting to help to stimulate the blood circulation. Maybe it's related with stroke. You never know, especially for old people. If it happens for younger people, for this one, any aromatic, strong aromatic smells of perfumes, anything, you can put it underneath the nose to help them wake them up. So this is the idea used traditionally using 菖蒲郁金汤. So 十张蒲 aromatic wake up the orifice to use aromatic one. 郁金黏荞栀子 get the heat, deal with the heat cause obstructions. 通草 diuretic together with 淡竹叶 to create heat through the urination. 牡丹皮 cool the blood and release the heat, and 竹沥 to resolve the damp, to help open the by remove damp heat. 灯心草 diuretic, and 玉树丹 is a specific pill, has been made, pre-made. This is good to deal with unconsciousness due to the damp blockage orifice. How is it different to previous pericardium valve of phlegm? Previous slides or previous conditions? These are damp dominated, happen in specific season. And previous conditions, it's happened season difference. So only things season difference and with specific damp dominant. That's all. All the rest could be exactly similar things. If they're up to this stage, usually they're called ambulance. They don't come to the clinic. You take time to book in, takes time to go through consultation. They cannot talk anymore, and they can't go through TCM practice for modern practice at the moment. Traditionally, people have experience from their practice or guided by the masters. They still can go through the treatment without modern medical resources available. There's questions. How do you know a damp dominated zone? All right. One is the season. Yes, we know the season. Later summer, early autumn. Yes. Second is by open their mouths, check their tongue and the pulses, you know there's a damp if they cannot speak. And this presentation seems very similar to springworms. Yes, springworms does not have a damp dominated conditions and only happen in spring. Temperature high is more dominated. But for these damp worms, if they happen with unconscious happening here and with dampness here, and depends on ratios, clinical presentation, could be damp dominant, could be heat dominant, but both damp heat are correlated. So another question, so veiling the pericardium is all the same if it's due to pathogens? Yes. Thank you. Now, here just have a look how could we understanding the concept of carbon this week. As so many new formulas, so much complicated damp heat related conditions, and so specific season related, later summer, early autumn, have both damp and heat pathogens affect the body. Depends on your constitutions or depends on the pulse. Strong pulse is so strong pounding, that means stomach cheese dominated and had heat dominant than a damp. As the pulse is very soggy, very slow, that means spleen chi deficiency dominant, damp dominated, which is most easy one to differentiate damp and heat, which one's dominant for both damp heat pathogens and presented simultaneously. Treatment principle, basically, we do not using strong diaphoretic. We do not using strong purgative. We do not using heavy, sticky yin tonified herbs at all in the treatment to protect spleen's qi, protect stomach's yin in general. Common pattern and formulas, and within the most formulas we mentioned, most common ingredients involved 藿香, anything else? 香乳, the gentle one, as well as the 苍术, hope, these aromatic things, as well as diuretic. Let's have a look. Anything else is we're missing? So happen a specific season, later summer, early autumn. Patient have possible not very hot to touch because the damp can be covered the heat and could also present as a kind of the container heat. Usually the temperature is not very high through the touching, and more digestion concerns in middle bowels, bloated stomachs, nausea, vomiting, or loose stool or diarrhea, fatigue or lassitude, which is due to qi obstruction, dysfunction, the middle burner with poor water metabolism related with obstructions, spleen's qi is not able to rising up, stomach qi is not able descending down, resulting diarrhea and nausea, vomiting. And in modern conditions, usually represented with the listed conditions, but not absolutely. Could relate also with hepatitis I mentioned in the specific seasons. Here's a comparison between the pathogens, like Charlie asked, what's the difference between damp and flame? What is this and that? And this we learned in the first year of TCM study, so just help all of us to review a little bit. So they are all yin in nature, are they? Regarding yin yang, they're all in nature, yes? So damp is more small drop of water droplets, damp. And this is a small vapor forms of water. And they are not shows in liquid form. They are more strong permeability. They can go any part of bodies. They're very unknown, like virus. They need to find a host to be existed, to be able to breathing. But water is much more running, more yin types. You can more liquid form state. And flame more concentrated, more stickier than semi-solid, with semi-solid status, and very easy forming shape like a tumor or cyst. And yin, and more tepid than water, but the diluted than flame is a more pathogen form of the water. It's becoming yin. So damp can be diffused or distributed all over the body, which is very annoying, like virus. It's horrible. No abnormal signs, but the early subjective feelings of heaviness and congestion in the bodies. So that's theoretically. And water is more have great or good mobility, can accumulate in the lower part of the body due to yin in nature, and also can permeate in the soft tissues. The many represent puffiness, swollen with dented marks from the pressure in the lower legs. That's a water pathogen. Flame is more sticky, which have poor mobility. It is hard to be removed completely because it's involved with a lot of congestion heat. These can represent as a noticeable one, productive sputum, or you can hear horrible sound from the cough and in the windpipes. And they may show a palpable abnormal growth, like a cyst or tumor or abnormal growth in the bodies. For the turbid water or pathogenic water, usually have limited mobilities, often accumulate in the chest or abdomen or stomach intestines between memories or inside of organs. Present as vomiting, clear saliva, watery sputum, and localized fluid retentions, like between the lung tissues and lung organs and outside the cavities of chest. Pleuritis. Okay, any more questions about these kind of pathogen differences? Yes, Charlie, thank you.
I'm reading one of the articles in related to COVID-19. It says that the condition in the lung, he used the term is damn toxic. I wonder the condition, why not is yin or flame? Because he used the word damn toxic.
No, toxic, yeah, Yeah, it's not toxic when they present inside the lung. It's a mucus, it's flame. You can see flame. It's a flame heat. It's flame heat. If they involve the lung, it's a flame heat. If they have a fever, if the fever involved, have a yellow sputum, it's a flame heat. If it's a white, productive sputum, it's flame cold. What will represent flame toxic? And like a TB is happening, have lymphatic TB happening, and eruptions. They can see yellow discharge from that kind of lymphatic tissues. They have enlargement, have swollen, have hot sensations, very horrible, turbid yellow discharge from that lymphatic tubes. That is flame toxic. Does that answer your question, Charlie?
Yes, much better, because just confused me with that article. It says storm toxic. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. So toxic is like an extreme flame heat. Toxic is extreme heat. If the flame toxic is extreme flame heat, yes, Cassandra. So here using image to try to explain the difference between these kind of pathogens. Water had much more this kind of color. It's more yin, located in the lower part, had good mobility, and the flame had more orange color, diffused water molecule, and the flames a bit more darker colors between damp and water. It contains condensed, sticky, and the yin is more congealed water. So using different color. So this using color and the shape and location tells you. So both flame and damp could affect the upper part of bodies, and they have some level of yang in natures. In comparison, water and the yin, relatively, they stay in the local part, so or lower part of the body or local part. Usually they don't running around for fun, but the flame and damp can affect it much more broad range of the parts. So relatively young compared with damp and yin. All right, here is the 4 characteristics of a damp worms. So which strong seasonal nature, so later summer, early autumn, only happens between summer and autumn season. So if it's not related with this season, usually you do not link with the damp worms, do not using Sangel differential diagnosis. Second is both of the spleen and stomachs are the center during the start of illness. So no matter it's in Wei level, Qi level, they always involved into some disorders in the middle earth of spleen and the stomachs. And the damp heat pathogens can permeate it to diffuse all over the body, resulting in qi obstructions and abnormal water metabolism. So for damp worm suffering, qi dynamics disorder, poor water metabolism related symptoms is common clinical manifestations. Number 3, due to the difference of the yin and yang natures of the damp and the heat pathogens, pathogenesis of illness is complicated and contraindicated to each other. We know that as a common sense. Damp is much more yin and stay still. They don't like to be mobilized compared with the heat. Heat is more active, more invigorating. When they bind together, mingle together, and they actually in some way to adapt each other's natures. Number 4, due to the nature of the dampness, this illness has a long durations and hard to treat because there's horrible mingled damp and heat. Yes. Qi weakness or yin damage can be a result of the illness. So dampness can affect the qi dynamics, much more further injury the qi, and heat is much more easy to consume the yin. So as a result, qi weakness, yin damage could be combined result of the damp worms. So this you can fill it up based on previous and provide the informations. We did that already. You had that comparison chart. All right, here's a treatment guide for damp worms based on location. First is in the upper gel, initial stage, damp heat. Second is damp heat and middle burner. The last one, damp heat in the lower gel. Basic instruction in the upper gel using aromatic warming herbs to vent and disperse the pathogens out through very mild, gentle perspiration, so such as 藿香、佩兰、香茹、杏仁, and 桔梗 can be used. If the middle burner, you can see combined 4 together. Depends basic clinical manifestations. For pungent cooling to decongest obstruction of the qi from the heat, and bitter cold to dry the dampness, such as 平胃散, so 苍术、枳实 and 黄连. Isn't 藿香 more for middle burner? 藿香 can use for both upper gel and middle burner. 藿香 is good for enhanced gentle perspiration, also good wake up spleens qi. It's good, remind me this one. Thank you, Jennifer. And second part is damp. If damp is dominating, you combine with bitter and warming herbs such as 厚朴 and 黄连 as a combination, as a 木香 regular qi. If heat is dominant in the middle burner, apply bitter cold and aromatic cooling herbs, 石膏、黄连、薏仁. And if the heat and damp equally and ratioed, you added bitter cooling herbs together, 厚朴、枳实、佩兰、黄连、白豆蔻. For the lower burner, when the damp heat affected, you always apply blended herbs to enhance perspirations and to help permeate the dampness through the urination, such as 竹叶、灯心草、茯苓, etc. If the heat is more, added bitter cooling herbs, 华石、泽泻, and 黄柏, etc. We know this kind of basic idea from the diagnosis in general or herbal material study in the past as well. It's just revisions for the knowledge. There's a note. Due to the nature of the dampness, when treating the damp-warm disease, it is always apply herbs for regulated qi to resolving qi activities. So this is because damp is very easy, constrain the qi dynamics. To disperse the lungs, to regulate water passages, and also supporting spleens qis ascending, stomach qis descending, and also very essential in a way to restore qi dynamics. Second, due to the treatment of damp-warm disease, during the treatment of damp-warm disease, caution should be taken in diet and physical exertion. So do not eat too much of herb which can generate damp, and do have reasonable physical activities to make qi dynamics performing, and do not overindulge in that, doing too much beyond the body's tolerance. Everything in moderation based on constitutions. And here is a basic comparison we already discussed from your slides in the blackboard. Here's the damp warms compared with the summer damp heat warms. We had that comparison from the slides, so this we should be able to complete it. You had this in the you had this as well. So we know we need avoiding strong diaphoretic, avoiding strong purgative, avoiding heavy sticky yin tonified herbs while treating damp warms. Let's have a look at this simple exercise. Only try to selecting the possible link between the syndromes with formulas we know. Have a look, this very basic exercise to match the left column of the syndromes with the right formula provided list of formulae. We may do not know all the formula and try to match the things we know, such as 文胆汤 should be simple. Which one is 文胆汤? Or 厚朴加厚朴夏苓汤 damp, hinder the qi mechanics of the wei and the qi. 霍破夏苓汤, 三仁汤, that's a good one. B to 2. Okay, we have 2 answers for the 文胆汤. One is D, accumulate the damp in the spleen, stomach, and the triple burner. Second is spleen stomach function distributed by damp heat in the middle burner. What's the difference between these 2 patterns? Accumulate turbid damp in the membrane source. Oh, good, we'll remember that. That's a good one. They follow exact order, are they? They follow exact order. So A to 1, B to 2, C to 3. Thank you. So that means I don't need to explain. Everything is for the exact order. Thank you very much. All right. Now, here's a comparisons between 霍破夏灵汤 and 三仁汤. We know they have very nice kernels, 3 kernels inside. They share a very nice kernel. So also for the first formula, using 藿香 and 淡豆豉 to vent exterior heat. Second formula, using 竹叶花 to purge the heat through the urinations, very gentle form. Did not use interactive open the bowel, instead to help eliminate through the urinations. They all have ability to open the upper gel using 杏仁, smooth the middle gel using 白豆蔻, permeate the lower gel using 薏苡仁. So damp heat hindered the qi mechanism of the Wei and the qi level. And more ingredients, more complicated ingredients inside of first formula, 霍破夏灵汤, can deal with exterior. And this one more deal with focus on triple burner for this formula, or second formula. That's all. The location of Mu Yuan. Here's explanations for resources. One is neither in the zhangfu nor channels, in the back muscles besides of spine, where it's not far from the surface of the body, is also near the stomachs, and at the border of exterior and interior, where it's half exterior and half interior. So something overlapped with Sao Yang, something overlapped with the fascia or Sanjiao concept from modern research. So this is one of the opinions. So I'm not arguing with this. I did not do research. I just accumulated all the possibilities to list here to explain what means memory source or Mu Yuan here. Formula comparisons. These two formula, we do not require go through details discussion for these two formula. We just need to know these two formula can deal with damp cold exterior with heat interior and with qi dynamics obstructions due to dampness in the middle gel. And both of these formula are quite commonly used for people and in very hot damp environment with external damp cold attack at the same times. They could involve into Mu Yuan and not necessarily depends on the syndromes. What's your questions, Ray Zhang, Mu Yuan? You mean talking about these two formula? Is that right? Talking about these two formulas applications? Oh, okay. 拼音木元. I got confused with 拼音. I'm sorry if I made it wrong. Mu is a mu, M-U. But anyway, we go with memory source. It's easier. Mu Yuan, go to Chinese character. I'm sorry, I could make errors for the pinyin. You're right. Mu is M-O, I think. M-U, M-U. I got no idea. Mu Yuan. Mu, M-O. Should be M-O. I'm sorry, here should be M-O. So both M-O, Mu Yuan. Thank you. Now, we did this one as well. And this two is Mu Yuan, Mu Yuan. And basically, it's Mu, M-O here, Mu Yuan. They have basically both of the damp and heat pathogens involved in Mu Yuan. So usually represented very hard to resolve the damp heat inside the body with qi dynamics obstructions. So you feel lethargic, you feel so heavy, you feel you never can restore a proper appetite for quite a while, either due to very big operation, taking medication, or due to some trauma or some emotional, disturbance, or due to some contaminated environment you're living or inhaled some chemical. So this is talking about this specific formula. Have some similarities. That's why I have exact same color in purple for those two formula. They have some different ingredients, also have in the dark color. But both of these formula are used for turbid damp accumulations in the memories. I don't know why I'm using this one again. So MO 木源 memory sources. And like when you're doing spring cleansing, you find some particular corner or areas of your house always smells not very pleasant and mouldy. Have to have regular cleansing. So that place is the 木源 in your household. Very easy accumulated damp and very easy to generate some unpleasant smells. Like a corner of the house, corner of the buildings. And they don't have sufficient airflow, and so all the accumulated passage on the damp, not very easy to become fermented and become moldy things. So basic treatment difference for these two formula to vent the disease damp heat by using first one from the 木源 and usually related with malaria-related conditions, or people had periodic chills, fever, such as Shaoyang disorder in Shanghai we discussed. Second formula deal with transform the damp and clear the heat from memory sources to easing alternative chill and fever suffering or malaria suffering, basically. They have lots of similarity, but first one, they have exterior conditions. That's why they have 藿香. Second one, more focus on middle burner disorders. And same for these two specific formula, they can deal with both damp heat accumulation in middle burner, cause dysfunction of spleens, jiangqi not able to rising, stomach not able to descending turbid qi, cause nausea and vomiting, very sickness feeling. They're sharing same ingredients, 藿香, 厚朴, and 陈皮 aromatic, and with different ingredients colored in black. You can know first formula is much more compound compared with second formula. First formula more focus on descending rebellion stomach qi, cause nausea, vomiting with bloated stomachs. And second formula much more easier to help enhance urinations with controlled heat by using 华氏 here. All right, let's have a look another try for this kind of fun. When the damp heat are equal in conditions, and what kind of formula is suitable for what kind of syndromes? Just a match left side of syndromes and in columns with right side columns of formulas. The accumulation of damp heat in middle burner, 连扑饮 or 自指导治散。一亿足液汤 eruptions of small vesicles due to steaming damp heat. 宣必汤 Now we find a pattern. Thank you very much. Because they're all quite foreign for us. For most of us, not very familiar formula. We don't know the exact composition. Only can guess in one or two from the formula name. So here just a review what we learned in the class. That's why I put in the same orders. We don't need to make ourselves feel too frustrated. And here is a comparison formulas between 连扑饮 and 子时导致散 导致丸 子时 So first conditions do not relate with constipations, so no colon obstructions. Second tells you damp heat obstructing the colon. So to try to understand difference of complications and different compositions, to try to understand difference in composition, you just need to try to realize the difference in their basic actions or understanding here. So first, more focus on separated the damp from the heat and resolved accumulation of damp heat in the middle burner. But the second focus on the damp heat accumulation in the colon. So either diarrhea with horrible odor of the stool, or like a dysentery-like conditions with very bad smell, odors after had a poo, and with very yellow greasy tongue coating is middle burner in the tongue coating as well. So there's a major difference for using two different formulas. They do have lots of similarities. They're also sharing 黄连 in these two formulas as well. Okay, now let's have a look at the simple formula revision. Go through the case study. Large intestines. We only have a strong odor of a poo and related colon. We don't talking about small intestine. Small intestine issue whether it's a spleen. For the spleen, that is different with burning, painful urinations. So spleen as hard heat goes through small intestine representing the burning, painful urination. That's a different, That's more heat dominated with damp heat in the small intestine. Small intestine is a coupling of the heart, so more in the urinations involved. So if in the large intestine, very strong odor of a poo, or either combination difficult and damp, depends on combination of the heat is dominated, more struggling. And even poo is not very, very dry. When it comes out, it has very strong odor. And the damp dominant can be running and like a diarrhea. Now, this is a simple case. Have a look if we can select in proper formula for that. In later summer, so we know is what? Is possible damp worms. Aversion to cold is typical superficial conditions with chills. Absent sweating is a cold damp. We think, so once the tongue coating chain also have internal damp. Socket pulse, headaches, this channel obstruction. So more damp coat internally, also damp coat externally. 藿香正气散藿香正气散 is better. 藿香正气 is a better formula, but based on the options here, we don't have 藿香正气, only have 辛加香如饮 and 薛氏辛加薛氏辛香解表方。Why 藿香正气散 is better? Because 藿香正气散, we're already familiar with formula name. We learned this formula in the formula study. We're familiar with this formula better. And easy get this formula from herbal supply. Thanks, Lucy, for asking that. Thank you. And all the other formula is not easy get the patent pills. And a lot of them are not sold in the patent formulas anymore because not very commonly used as a 藿香正气散 in comparison. 香如饮, yes, you can use 香如饮. Yes, you can use 香如饮 or 辛加香如饮 for these cases here. This all can be used. All right. Now, second one. Okay, now which one is correct one from the slides we learned today? For the first case, which is correct one? We can use 辛加香如饮 definitely when we learned the summer heat worms. And for today is the second one. 薛氏辛香加解表汤 because this means release exteriors. 解表方 This aromatic warming and relief exterior. So it's very hard for people not able to understand. I'm sorry for this one. So let's have a look. Second one, maybe easy for pronunciation. So 半夏后铺汤, we learn this one. For Plumstone syndrome, 后铺下连汤, which is easy. We know it's a 后铺 inside, 半夏黄连 inside, or maybe 茯苓. 三仁汤, we're familiar with this formula name. Have a look at this one. Still happen in later summer with chills. So chills and contain fever. Still something in the 太阳 in the surface, have superficial condition. Heavy body, so it's damp inside. Cloudy head, so an upper jaw have concern. Cloudy body, lethargy, spleen sheet affected. Fullness, chest, upper jaw, middle jaw. So all the tubal burn affected by dampness. Also superficial cold with the tongue coating. Further evidence as a dampness dominated. That's why the greasy tongue coating, soggy, moderate forces. So damp dominated conditions in the triple burner. 三仁, if you cannot remember, 三仁汤 is very good for this one. 三仁汤 is very well balanced. With 后铺下连汤 is much more for more ingredients involved, much more stronger, deal with the triple burner damp, constrain the qi dynamics in the bodies, cause of spleens qi not able to ascending. That's why resulting heaviness, feeling, lassitude or lassitude, and stomach qi is not able descending down. You feel bloated stomachs, even vomiting, and both of these poor qi dynamic result in wide greasy tongue coating. Even 半夏后铺汤 can help resolving this, or use a modified 半夏后铺汤. Clinically, if it's for clinical practice or exit exam, you cannot remember 三人汤, you cannot remember the 后铺夏宁汤, but you remember what? Not remember 后铺夏宁, you can remember 半夏后铺汤. You can do modified from this. Add something 藿香 to deal with exterior, and add something else to enhance dampening release, such as 茯苓 to enhance if there's not enough, and add it more like 灯心草, 薏仁, and to help deal with the damp, or add more qi regulating ingredients, 大腹皮 to help regulate the qi. Now, there's another simple cases here. In later summer, persistent alternating chills and fever, so affect what part of body? 少阳 gallbladder, or affect qi dynamics very badly, or affect a problem between exterior and interior. Chest and abdominal distension, so very poor qi dynamics in up and middle burner, and poor appetite. So basically, they call that 木源 has been affected. So in some level, here emphasize the importance of the pivot in the 少阳, or important function of gallbladder can have specific influence for overall health. So there's a question. In May, would you mind please translated formula names when you are not just herbal name? Please help me memorize. Okay, this formula 雷氏 is come from the specific person as a 雷氏. 宣透 to vent, to help to permeate pathogen out. 木源 is memory source, fun is a decoctions. Because we are not required to memorize this kind of formula, just need to understand the composition inside the formula name. That's all. That's why I did not explain the formula names here. It's very can be have different translation from some books as well. Thank you, Rebecca. And that's why I keep using the 少阳 concept, keep using the classics one for people already learn that, keep using some information we learned in formula or previous in the diagnosis to try to interpret some new things at the moment. So, and also here try to emphasize importance of gallbladder functions, so-called modern gallbladder functions. So anatomic gallbladder functions, or TCM gallbladder functions, or 少阳 functions. Because the gallbladder, both anatomic gallbladder and CM gallbladder supporting digestive functions. And also 少阳 is very important pivot to determine the overall yang qi rising and restorations for general qi dynamics inside the bodies. So that's why people say by monitor the early morning's weather, you can predict the whole days and sun distributions and for the weather. So that's something important for understanding the importance of gallbladder, importance of 少阳, important pivot regarding the qi dynamics. You can use in Wendan modified, yes. That's why I try to recall or to remind you the original learned formula we learned in the past. We can utilize all the learned formula to do some modifications in the similar cases presented in the clinic. You also can modify it from 四逆散 or possible 小柴胡汤 modified, but do not using too much of warming herbs in these cases. Do not using much of 柴胡. So replace the 柴胡 with 青蒿. So that's different things. Are we not doing concept 4 today? What means concept 4? What means concept 4? Georgia? Do we have concept 4? Oh, did I miss anything? Oh my God, I must have forgot. Okay, I missed this one. All right, so we're using this revision will be similar covered in concept for information. Is that right? Okay, but all the information in the revision exercise is already covered concept 4, George. So as a kind of revisions, they'll be similar in a way. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I missed the concept 4 if they do have concept 4. I did not have concept 4 in mind. Okay, all right. We're just using these kind of revisions anyway. They covered all the informations and presented if we missed it in the classes for details. And let's have a look this kind of 4 case study. Let's have a look if we could go through basic revisions for the understanding for this one. If I find concept 4, if anything we're missing, we'll have quick revision from next week's revision exercise. Thanks, George, for reminding me. I'm going to have a look to check for that one. Why some people have, some people don't have. It's funny. Not in the zip file. Okay, if it's not in the zip file, it wasn't in zip file, but it isn't, but it's on the BB. All right, I'm going to have a check, and then we're going to finalize it next week in the revision exercise. Thank you very much. Okay, now have a look at this case study. So this is a case, 4 case, a very simple 4 case. In the later summer, a male patient has been suffering aversion to cold for 2 days. So we know this is have exterior attack, and the seasons indicate possible damp wounds. And his cold is accompanied with a few or no sweating, fever, but patient's skin is not quite as hot as a fever to touch. So it's typical there's damp involved. Heat is worse in the afternoon, so more evidence tells us it's combination mingled damp heat. Heavy feelings in the limbs and tight in the body, so this damp has been restricted qi flowing. Heavy and restrict feelings in the head, so spleens yang qi not able to ascending, and upper jaw has been involved. Emotionless, so this more severe qi dynamics involved. There's no proper emotions involved, become more dumb or depressed. Sallow complexions, so spleens yang qi not able to rising, and cold limbs, spleen yang qi not able to warm the limbs. Fullness in the chest and epigastric region, so upper middle jaw all affected by damp. Qi dynamics has been constrained. No appetite, no nausea, vomiting. Further evidence tells you spleens yang qi not able to rising, and spleens stomach qi not able descending down. Loose stool, TT function has been affected, inhibited urinate. Further evidence tells us lower jaw qi also been affected due to dampness constrictions. So that means up, middle, 3 burner all been involved by mingled damp heat pathogens or damp pathogens in the late summer, with additional wide greasy tongue coating and moderated slow pulses tells us it's typical what? Dampness has been affected by dampness affect up, middle, and the lower burner, restrict qi dynamics. So this dominated by damp cold. So 4-level differential diagnosis is not suitable for these kind of damp dominated conditions. They may use for what? For fever dominated one. But if you really want to use in 4 levels, here's possibility. Damp heat obstruction in the both Wi and the Qi level simultaneously with damp predominated. So damp heat pathogens is in Sanjiao. And for Zhangfu identifications, possible constitutional insufficiency with spleens yang qi. That's why suffering exterior damp heat pathogens attack due to the season, and which result in the congesting defensive qi in the surface, and from mingled damp heat pathogens and poor water metabolism associated with dampness internally with qi obstructions, resulting spleen, stomach qi, and transformations become abnormal. So that's why no appetite, no emotions, and no proper TT functions as well. So here, should not using 4-level identification, should using Sanjiao differentiation straight away. But if you insist in combination using 4-level together with organs, this is fine. Principal treatment, using gentle aromatic herbs to disperse exterior pathogens and separate them from the heat. Yes, it is a damp coat based on a tongue coating. But based on the season, it is damp coat here. But based on the season, it's possible damp heat, but with damp dominated. Because in the later summer, as the weather is hot or cold, later summer, early autumn, weather is hot. We mention it generally, damp cold only be affected in the cold season and damp heat only affected in the hot season. Yes, but with the ratio of the damp heat, and a bit different. But overall, it looks like it's all damp, but here have something else. Fever, but they are not able to be sensed when you touch it. So it looks like a damp cold internally, but also have a fevers involve combination, mingle the damp heat, but the damp dominated. So damp, there's a damp cold here, but with fever shows you still have a heat. So damp dominant. Sorry if I made errors about early damp cold itself. Are you using Sanjo differentiation more because the damp is involved? If the damp heat involved or damp dominated, Sanjo differentiation is much more easier. But with the combination, organ differential diagnosis is required for us for exit exam for the clinical practice. That's why I had combined both, just exercise all of us if we could differentiate difference between 4 levels and Sanjo differentiations. Here actually using the both 4 levels here and Sanjo here, damp heat pathogen in the Sanjo, in the triple burner. Here using this 3. So 4 level, Sanjo differential diagnosis and the Sanfu differential diagnosis. Second part, after gentle aromatic herbs applied to separate damp from heat, we also need to introduce aromatic blend herbs to transform the damp. So one is aromatic regulated qi blend help permeate the damp through the urinations. And introduce some aromatic warming herbs to invigorate qi activities for both upper burner and lower burner and middle burners. So here using 霍破夏灵汤 or 三仁汤 if you don't like this one. 三仁 also can be used. So this 藿香、半夏、赤茯苓 and 猪苓、厚朴 aromatic resolve the damp and descending qi downwards, restore the TT functions. The kernel 杏仁、薏苡仁、白豆蔻 resolving damp in the triple burner with 淡豆豉泽泻 diuretic and permeated damp through the urinations. And that's all for this kind of revision. We still have a little bit of tongue diagnosis we need to go through with that. Have a look.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Yes, no problem.
Oh, hello and hello everyone.
Hi.
I just caught the end of the conversation that was talking about the assignment potentially being.
We all read the announcement, haven't we? We all read the announcement, yes. If we cannot submit the work before Saturday, and due to the web work, something they're going to do work for the Blackboard to update the program software. So maybe they have some interruptions. So do not submit your work on Saturday and Sunday. If you still have trouble on Monday, you can submit on Tuesday. If you already submitted, if you can submit it before Saturday, it's no issue. You don't need any trouble. If you have to submit it before the deadline, you may need to submit it on Tuesday morning instead.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good to know.
We have look revision sections. There's a few I think I just canceled that one. This is week 8. Yeah, it will be week 8. You're right. Yes. So we just have 2 slides on the back. Why they don't move? Why they don't? Okay, then move. Gainan. Yeah, that's for peace. That's right, for peace. Gainan. Can't. Yes, Charlie. Charlie, did you just raise your hands or accident?
What is Gainan? Because in last slides, in the case study, it mentioned Gainan water.
Oh, sorry. Gainan case study. Did I mention case study for the Gainan water? Or the last case study? Gainan water is running water. It's a live water, not tap water. It's water you find in a creek and river. Gainan water have bubbles. Some of us already learned classics 1, yes? So when you're brewing herbs, traditionally from Han Dynasty, even before, because we don't have tap water then, and people may using the water from the underground and using water from the creek. So all the water from the creek, because more oxidized water. So if we don't have oxidized water, we're only using tap water, you just need to play with water for a while until more saturated with oxygen and air, they become Gainan water. If you don't have Gainan water, use a good quality of just tap water, it'd be fine. And there's questions. A question regarding end of the term exam. Has there been anything mentioned about it will be exam? It will be exam. Thank you. It will be exam for the Classics 2 in week 12, I think. So week 12, online. Yeah, online exam will be similar like last term online exam for the other subject. Yeah, thanks. Okay, now let's have a look this image. How many of you had experience to see the tied tongue? Some people cannot stretch the tongue out. You can see the tied tongue. Yes, it's a typical tied tongue for this baby. You can see some of them go through operations to cut it off, so their tongue can free stretch out and in, speak much more easier. For kids who are born with tied tongue, they have difficulty to pronounce some terms, some sound in early age. If the very severe tongue tied, they do go cut it up. And very simple surgery, they can cut it when they were young. But if a mild tongue tied, most of parents are not want causing horrible trauma experience for the infant. They can keep it like this. So if people already have partially tied tongue in the clinic, do not insist, ask them, stretch tongue a bit more further. They can't do that. Instead, the tongue will rolling downwards, and that's due to tied tongue. You were born with that one. And most of people, if they're born with tied tongue, they do not have a special ability to express their emotions unless some procedure has been done when they were a child. So which can harbor some emotions, become issues when they're grown up. Okay, second image, I just want to remind you or to help us to review the typical yellow tongue coating. And how many have seen this kind of very, very yellow, very, very bad turbid tongue coating covered all over? The gap they had here is have a abnormal growth here. That's why it has been removed from the operations. They have a bit gaps from operations removed. But the tongue coating here, very, very yellow, greasy. And if this kind of tongue coating have even color distributions, that means the body have lots of damp heat. If a color you find looks like has been painted on top of that, it's some liquid or food they eat or drink before they come into the clinic. Quite often people have already very thick white tongue coating. In the morning, they taking some yellowish colors of a supplement or herbal powder or drink some tea or coffee, and the tongue coating can be painted, but not evenly. So some patches this color, some patches a bit darker, some a bit lighter. So that is uneven color distribution, usually related to food they eat and they drink. And this is a typical damp worm suffering patient related to tongue coating. Very dehydrated, very horrible, dry, mixed with greasy tongue coating presented during the damp worm suffering stages. So this, you can see a lot of damp internally, and also you can see dehydration, dried cracks involved, a lot of cracks. Some part of the typical one is in the middle, you can see very typical cracks. And also you can see some part turbid, but the turbid dry because they're not even covered. Some part you can find missing part and getting much more thinner here, slightly gray in this part. This typical damp heat with damp dominated present some dehydration conditions in the damp worms condition. It's very common condition for the damp worms. And the Qi deficiency with teeth marks here. Yes, Olivia.
Ying-Mei, how did you distinguish that it was turbid in those two sections that you identified? What made it turbid there?
Okay. Is the tongue coating makes you feel very clean? This one, turbid means more greasy. Is that clean for you? Or feel dirty, you want scrap to clean it out? Yes? So very thick. Yeah. When the thick become greasy, it's a turbid. Turbid could involve some level of food stagnation as well if it's located middle gel, like this one. So this always involve middle gel, have something damp, heat involved. So that means the stomach's not able to empty the hollow organs regularly. They have very slow peristalsis.
Yeah, okay.
Feel dirty, feel yucky. Sometimes some people tongue coating very thick but not very turbid, and looks like very, very nice, like a MOSS moss growing on the top of the surface of the backyard. Very, very rare. Yeah.
Okay, I think I misunderstood what you were saying. I interpreted it differently. That's okay, thanks. I'll go over it later.
Okay, thank you. Now there's the questions. Does the video presentation need to be new contents or just what the essay cover? And they are supposed choosing similar topics and it can be slightly different angled, only 5 minutes. Make sure time can be counted as a marking, so do not overrun for this kind of oral presentations in videos. Thank you, Adriana. Now have a look the final slides of the tongue, example of the tongue. Okay. Which one reminds you have more heat involved? Number third one. And does that purely heat or heat mixed with the cold? Mixed. Okay, thank you. So number third one have a best spirit in a way because more red, more great spirit presentation with redness there and nice shining as well. But tongue coating is unevenly distributed and which is a white color. So which is mixed cold from the damp and the heat with the body. So clinically from conventional term, this is what? Oral thrush or digestion have very bad fungi growings due to improper bitter cold medications or herbs taking. This is a typical oral thrush because they can see they covered all over the tongue. Even the edge of the tongue have covered with tongue coating. I call that mushrooms growing in all your intestines as a kind of analog. Another question is, will the online exam be timed or is it a taking home exam? Exam is never taking home. There's never have a taking home exam. Have we had a taking home exam before? Have we had a taking home exam in T1? No. So that means no. It's not taking home. If it's taking home, is assessment, is assignment. Exam is exam. Is time? Yes. It won't be timed. Thank you, Adriana. Now, there's a software we have to. Yeah, thank you. They will give you proper instructions, basically. If we never experienced online exam last term, it's good checking the blackboard. they give you sufficient information about online exam. Thanks, everybody, to help each other. I'm worried due to my uncertain internet connections. And because this is already final decision, but I think most of people could have that happening if they're happening and apply for secondary exam, sub-exam. So what you can do is the best way and send email to Nick and say to student service center, tell them you do have these kind of conditions in your local areas, and try to get some things informed beforehand. Secondly, because the exam for this subject is, what's the percentage? Any of you still remember the percentage? Most of us are nearly the passing subject already, so we only need a few marks. So we only need a small percentage passing subject. 30%. Nikki, thank you very much. 30%. So most of us are nearly passing subject. Don't get too frustrated. And all the conditions basically is a common conditions. And relevant formula will be provided for you before the exam time. So basically just already tells you everything. Just make sure you're learning, do some summary study, and go ahead to fulfill the duty we're required. Or we can find better places, can provide better internet connection if it's possible. So can help minimize the stress if it's possible. Negotiate with some friends, some specific places. So that's a possibility. Otherwise, inform the school and contact to the NIC is a possibility, and maybe required for the secondary exams. Sorry for that, but thank you for that information. And school also knows, because internet connection is quite easy to interfere with a lot of issues nowadays. Now, the tongue we're talking about, number 3 tongue, also indicated lots of ink deficiency. That's why you can see unevenly distributed tongue coatings here, which is typical example tells us for the Wen-Bin suffering, ink deficiency kind of common conditions due to fever as dominant conditions. With uneven shape of the tongue tip, the bodies already have very sluggish what? Qi in which part of the body? In the digestion tracts, which is major contributions for the dampness suffering for most of us, which is also important part for us to restore the spleen, Middle Earth digestions to help recovering the overall illness as well. And the middle tongue, I try to emphasize, if any of you can see people when they're able to stretch the tongue so further, you can see these beautiful tissues, and these are normal forms. But if it's extremely enlarged, very swollen, usually correlated with people have a chronic sinusitis, have constant dripping from a postnasal drips, causing inflammation, causing this enlargement, or in TCM, they're correlated with poor digestion functions in your small intestines. So you have very, very easy suffering, irritable bowels, very suffering, bloated stomachs, and have poor digestion functions. I can hear the echo. And this is additional evidence tells us poor and not evenly surface for the structure of the tongue itself. Very, very thick tongue coating presented with purple, red patches at the beginning. So a lot of emotional constraint, and very dark and poor qi and blood circulation, a lot of multiple dots involved, a lot of latent passages. And second tongue is more swollen, so further evidence tells us spleen qi is very weak. And this is overall tells us people very easy feel tired for these kind of tongue presentations. And this kind of tongue usually related with anxiety, with the shape of the tongue. And it's all easy to understand why they have very, very pointing purple on the tip here for the first one. And this tongue this one usually indicated they have lots of pre-existing heat. That's why tongue body is so red, and coating have white covered after some illness suffering, after some unnecessary things applied, so have too much of flora disorder in the gut. With TCM, we call that damp coat. Now, that's all for today's, and any questions? Thank you all very much, and I'll see you next time.